Right now at 6 on the front lines of a growing wildfire.
I'm John Adams. Coming up at 6 p.m., a fast-moving wildfire in Wasco County is prompting evacuations. We have the latest from the fire line.
Plus, a former high school football coach accused of slapping, shaking, and yelling at his players is now facing criminal charges.
He should have been arrested right then.
Then why some say a fire that damaged several Portland businesses appears to be an act of retaliation.
I just want to be able to feel safe, to not get caught up in flames.
And drastic measures to clean up a big eyesore in Portland.
We're going to be closing I-84 right from I-5 all the way out to 205.
What you need to know to help you get around the closure.
First at 6, rising fire danger with an active and expanding wildfire burning in Wasco County. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko.
And I'm Christine Pitawanich. The Larch Creek fire sparked yesterday a few miles southeast of the town of Dufur. It has burned more than 7,000 acres over the past 24 hours. And now there are some mandatory evacuations in rural southern Wasco County. We've got team coverage for you this evening. Chief Meteorologist Matt Zaffino is standing by in the Weather Center with the latest conditions.
But first to John Adams live near the fire line. So John, what is the very latest where you are?
Well, David and Christine, we are on Highway 197 just north of Tye Valley, where fire crews have been out here for most of the day today, fighting this fast-moving fire that started on Tuesday and quickly burned over 7,000 acres.
Fire crews in Central Oregon have fought the fast-moving Larch Creek fire on the ground and from the air on Wednesday, battling the high temperatures and gusty winds in the process.
The fire started yesterday. Since yesterday, it really, with the winds, red flag warnings, pushed it 7 miles very quickly. There's a lot of grassland, so it tends to burn when the wind is pushing it.
Crews and equipment have arrived from Multnomah, Clackamas, and Washington counties with more help on the way by Wednesday night. Resources from the State Fire Marshal's office have also arrived after Governor Kotek invoked the Emergency Conflagration Act. The main concern on Wednesday remains the high winds that are expected to gust near 35 miles per hour, which can halt water drops from the sky and make things dangerous for firefighters on the ground.
With this rapid wind, it can be 2 miles away, and a few minutes later, it could be right at their feet.
The primary goal is to defend structures, 41 of which were in direct line of the fires this morning. Areas west of Highway 197 have been under a level 3 go now evacuation. People east of 197 have been told to be ready to leave at a moment's notice. A Tye Valley resident that spoke to our Thomas Schultz spent the day Tuesday removing valuables from a family home in the path of the wildfire.
It's very concerning for sure, and a little worried, but I have, full confidence in our local fire and all the agencies around.
Well, the State Fire Marshal's office did tell us they do believe humans caused this fire. They don't know exactly how it happened as of yet. David, Christine?
Yeah, it could be farm equipment, could be something else. Thank you, John. All right, let's bring in Chief Meteorologist Matt Zaffino now. Matt, what are you seeing when it comes to the winds in that area?
Oh, they're still very strong out in that part of the gorge and then south of the gorge where the fire is burning. Here's our camera in the Dalles looking at the river. Still winds at 18, gusting to 30. The gusts have been nearly 40 miles an hour there. Not quite as strong down by the fire, which is down around Dufur, Friend, and out to north of Maupin, basically, but still good west winds, 15, 20 miles an hour at times. These winds will begin to die down a little bit overnight tonight, but they're still going to be strong for the next several hours. Through 10 o'clock, they're gusting to about 20, 25 miles an hour. So, yeah, we've got wind concerns for sure, and also fire weather concerns for much of the region, really from up around Spokane down to Bend and from the east side of the Cascades over to the Idaho border. That's until 11 o'clock tonight, the fire weather warning, because of the wind and the low humidity. And really what this refers to, keep in mind, it's not that new fires are expected to break out in the region. It means that this region has weather conditions that if there is a fire, it can burn rapidly and dangerously with those critical conditions. And that's exactly what we're seeing, as John Adams just showed us. The other, of course, impact of fire is smoke. And the Rogue Valley, Jackson County, under an air quality alert till 2 o'clock. tomorrow because of smoke from fires down in Northern California. So very windy in the afternoon and evenings, especially tonight. The winds will back off a little bit tomorrow, and the winds die down at night. But humidity stays low, temperatures stay high over on the Larch Creek fire. Guys?
Yeah, still a lot to keep an eye on. Thank you, Matt. In your headlines, the triple-digit heat wave is now suspected to be behind at least 9 deaths throughout Oregon. 5 of those were Multnomah County residents, including a 72-year-old North Portland man who died yesterday. A 33-year-old Clackamas County man died in a Portland hospital on Saturday. Washington County is also reporting its first suspected heat-related death, an 83-year-old man who died yesterday. There have also been 2 heat-related deaths reported in southern Oregon, one in Coos County, one in Jackson County, where temperatures hit 110 during the heat wave. In all of these cases, a medical examiner will determine a final cause of death.
President Joe Biden feeling the pressure to drop out of the race, and today Oregon Congressman Earl Blumenauer has weighed in, saying Biden should not be the presidential nominee. In a statement, Blumenauer, who is a Democrat, highlighted Biden's accomplishments over the last 4 years, but then did not mince words, saying, while this is a decision for the president and the first lady, I hope they will come to the conclusion that I and others have. President Biden should not be the Democratic presidential nominee. He continued, it is a painful and difficult conclusion, but there is no question in my mind that we will all be better served if the president steps aside as the Democratic nominee and manages a transition under his terms.
In Oregon City, a $150+ million bond measure to repair and update aging elementary schools is now set to appear on the November ballot. The funds would cover security and building systems at 6 schools that were built between the 40s and 70s. District leaders say the buildings have original plumbing and HVAC systems. The money would also go to make learning spaces more accessible and expand career technical education at Oregon City High. The estimated cost to homeowners here is $1.23 a year per $1,000 of assessed value.
Now to a scary story with a good ending. 2 teenagers are safe tonight after they got stuck on a coastal cliff at Cannon Beach. A helicopter was used to rescue them. Crews set up a rope system yesterday afternoon at Chapman Point and lowered a firefighter down who put the teens in a harness. From there, they were airlifted to the beach and reunited with family. Both are okay.
All right, to some breaking news we are following now in southeast Portland and an active police presence near Berrydale Park that is in the Montevilla neighborhood after a report of shots fired.
Now let's take a live look at that scene. Here is what we know so far. Portland police say they got a report of a man firing a gun just before 3:45 this afternoon on southeast 88th Avenue between Main and Taylor. No officers or other people were hit, but they say there is also no threat to the public at this point. Berry Hill Park, though, is closed for the investigation, as well as some nearby streets. We'll bring you more information as we get it. Now to new information on a former high school football coach in the Beaverton School District accused of slapping and shaking players at an overnight sports camp. He is now officially charged with harassment.
Daisy Caballero's in the newsroom. And Daisy, the suspect here is also a police officer.
Yeah, guys, McMinnville police say Jamal Jones turned himself in today nearly 3 weeks after the incident and is now facing 12 counts of harassment. Jones was the head coach at Westview High School and also served as a Hillsborough police officer. Students say these allegations happened at an overnight football camp at the Linfield University campus back on June 25th. McMinnville police officers responded to do a welfare check early that morning, but didn't arrest Jones. That same day, the Beaverton School District placed Jones on administrative leave pending an investigation, and he resigned the next day. I spoke with a mother who says her son was hit in the face by Jones at the camp, sharing she never thought something like this would happen to her family and is still very frustrated with the outcome.
I do not think that a Class B misdemeanor is what he deserves. I believe in my heart, wholeheartedly, looking at the videos and knowing what he did, I believe that he should have assault charges and should have jail time.
Jones was processed in the Yamhill County Jail and is expected to be released pending a future court date, which the McMinnville Police Department says is a common situation in these cases. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Daisy. Appreciate that update. Now at 6, a man has been arrested and charged with arson after an early morning fire hit a couple businesses next to a homeless campsite.
Our Sydney Dorner spoke with a few people in the area who say they think it was an act of retaliation. She's live for us in Northeast Portland with that story. Good evening, Sydney.
Good evening, Christine. This afternoon, Portland Fire told us they now have a man in custody for arson. His name is John Martin, and he's accused of starting 4 fires, including the one you see behind me right here at Northeast Sandy and 28th Avenue. Investigators say it started from a homeless camp outside the building and then spread. People who work and live here told me they think it was retaliation after the city planned to sweep the camp. Evalia Renteria has lived in this apartment in Northeast Portland for 5 years. She lives next door to this building that burned early Wednesday morning at Northeast Sandy and 28th Avenue.
And the smell started coming into our apartment, so we took matters into our hands and we called. We're like, hey, we're not sure what's going on, but something's on fire next door to us.
Portland Fire and Rescue say the fire started at a homeless camp in front of the commercial and residential property, with the landlord showing us an illegal campsite notice from the city issued on July 3rd, informing the people their campsite would be removed. The Cafe Dear Sandy is next to the building that burned. They posted this photo on Instagram saying someone had set something on fire and put it through their mail slot. Renteria says the campsite was there for about a week, with homeless people using the now burned awning as shade from the recent boiling temperatures.
A lot of people don't want them so long in an area because they get comfortable, they start blocking the sidewalks, they start using the sidewalk as a bathroom.
An employee of Dear Sandy says they will be fortifying the security on their front door and removing their mail slot. For right now, Evalia says she hopes police can find answers and peace for the neighborhood. Now, police have arrested a man for arson in this case. The good news is no one was hurt. David and Christine, back to you.
Yeah, you certainly can understand their frustration. Thank you, Sydney. Straight ahead at 6, interstate shutdown, how the closure of 5 key miles might impact your weekend.
And the owner of an Oregon Lego store is now facing serious criminal charges. What he's accused of doing to boost his inventory.
Plus, coming up at 6:30, Oregon has a single facility to train police recruits, and it recently eliminated a massive months-long backlog. So how did they do it? Pat Doris and team find out ahead at 6:30 on The Story that's only here on KGW.